Good evening, folks. This is Jacob Folger, artist sculptor, and tonight we are going to make this Dragon Castle wall art piece, and start to finish. And I'd like you to come along and make it with me. It also holds a battery-powered tea light. Yeah, a lot of fun. So yeah, if you could, please give the video a like and subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you get notified when I upload. And let's get started. Okay, we're going to start off with a shape kind of like this. And it's okay if it's a little bit rough. And it's good to have a flat board to work on. And if it's a little bit wet, it's a good idea too. And I'm just going to press that onto my board. So the one thing you want to have is you want to have your candle handy so that you can make sure that the top is wide enough for it to sit on. So you want to keep that handy. And this is definitely not going to be for, real wax candles. This is going to be a candle light that you want to use for this. You want it to be, you want to try to make it uniform. And you can take clay and roll it into like noodles and put it, along the sides so that it's totally flat to the board and flush to the board. You just blend it in. Like that. Roll another one. I'm going to roll it off screen so there's plenty of room. Like that, and press it in. At the backdrop falling in on us. Looking like that. And you want to make sure that the there's a nice slope going down, and there's fairly even in sloping and not all bumpy and lumpy. You can take a sculpting tool like this and just clean that edge like that so it's nice and clean. There we go. Okay, I'm going to take a piece of clay like about this big, and I'm going to roll it into a ball off screen. It's going to look like this, and then I'm going to squeeze it kind of flat. So it's like this. I want it to be fairly uniform. So, and then that's going to go on the top up here. Let me move the camera back so you can see. And so what I'm going to do is just press it. I'm going to press it on the table. Bear with me. Sorry, a little bit of space issues here. I want it to be flat on the back, like that. Just bear with me in my camera issues if you don't mind. Okay, now I'm going to store this as I'm putting it on the top of the sconce. And I'm going to store the sconce itself. And then I'm going to get my spray bottle and get that nice and wet. And join those two pieces. Like that. And then I'll blend that in. And that will ensure that it's going to be big enough to support the candle, hold the candle. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a sculpting tool and I'm going to carve in a window like that, and then just carve it out, remove it. Use a tool like this. I like, for my window, I like it to be fairly deep. Be more realistic. You can kind of clean up the edge like that. And, you know, it's a good idea to every once in a while mist everything, including the clay you're working with, your lump of clay. Keep it moist. I'm just gonna take a few minutes and I'm gonna smooth everything out. and you know, just work on the plane and make it all even and smooth and no lumps, no bumps. We'll do that and come back. Okay, so this is where we are now. Now we want to add some depth and interest to the window. So I'm going to roll a little bit of clay and then shape it with my fingers like this. And make like a little windowsill. It'll go on like that. I'll try to make it fairly uniform. Like that. And then I'll score where the back of it like that and score where it's going to go. And wet both parts. Put that on. And then I'm going to take smaller ones, make little balls, and make small blocks, kind of like the one we just made. And put them going up the side of the window, both sides. I'm going to show you one, and then you're going to, then I'll do them and come back. So, just put it on there, like that. And then we'll have them going all the way around. I'll be right back. Okay, this is what we have. We have a window framed in with blocks. And I realize this one is really too small. So I'm just going to kind of blend it off there. Smooth it in. And make another one for it. A little bit more clay. So I'll roll a ball and then a noodle like this. I think that will work. And shape it. And just you can squeeze it like this between your fingers and just form it into like this block. It'll go right there. And I'll score it where it's going to go. And wet both parts. And then put it on. Well, that looks pretty cool. I'm going to give you a bird's eye view of that. That's what it looks like so far. Now I'm going to work on the top. And what I'm going to do is roll balls like this. And then form them into blocks. And clean my tool a little bit here. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to score this. And I'm going to start in the center of the top. And I'm going to score that. And wet it. Wet it. And that will go there, like that. And then I'll work my way out and around to the back by putting those in. So So I'll come back in a few minutes. Let me just show you that. That's what it's going to look like. So we'll do that and come back. Okay, so you can see now what that looks like. And then we want to go in and smooth all this around here and blend it in on the other side, on the top as well. So we'll do that and come back. Okay, so here, this is where we're at now. Let's see. And yeah, so now we're going to start the dragon. So we want a noodle of clay. And I'm going to probably position them kind of like this. I'm just going to kind of feel it out right now without, you know, scoring and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm thinking something like that. And then I'll come here and take a sharper tool and just cut that noodle there, pull that off, and then, so that's where it's going to go, and then I'll score as much as possible. And on the noodle, and then a little bit of water, let it probably something like that. Just press them gently in there. So you're not deforming the clay, you know. And then I'm going to have it spiral. So it's going to come like this. And so I'm going to take that off. What you can do is you can decide where it's going to go, and then put some marks so you know where to store, like that, and then you can store that. And score your noodle. The storing is really important. It really is. You know, you want to make something that's going to last a long time, not fall apart on you in a couple of years or whatever. And then I'm probably going to maybe have this come around. I have to kind of decide how I want to do that. Or maybe like that or something. We'll have to figure it out. Not sure yet how I want to do that. So maybe I'll terminate this here and have it, let's see, gotta play with it. Art in progress, man. You know, this is not pre-designed. I'm not doing drawings. I don't have an armature. You know, yeah, maybe like that. And then I'll take a piece of clay and put it here because that's kind of too crinkly for me. I like really smooth flowing lines, as you know if you've seen my other videos. Yeah, that'll work, and then we can put the spade coming up, and yeah, it'll be awesome. So yeah. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. So you want a bird's eye view of that? So look so far. I'm gonna work on his face in a minute. Okay, so I took the head off so that you can see me sculpt this really good, because I know we got some issues with the you know, with the camera and the set and all that, because this is a much bigger piece than I usually do in my videos. I did try to do I did actually a sconce, dragon sconce video several years ago on here, on this channel, but I had that issue, and I think there were, you know, visual problems, and I'm not even sure how that video went, but yeah. So I'm just kind of shaping the face a little bit. And then I'm going to take a ball tool and create an eye socket. Like that. And then I'm going to get a small ball of clay. I think that's too big, so let me set that down for a minute and see how this works. Yeah, let me roll that a little bit better. Looks like that. And then I'm going to take a clean sculpting tool. It's gotta be clean, right? And I'm gonna put pupil in. And I kind of want the pupil to be a little bit like a V. Kind of like that. Make it a little deeper. So like that. Now I'm going to take a little ball of clay and then into a noodle. That's sharp, kind of sharp on both ends, like that. And put it on there. And then blend it in all the way around. I'm kind of forming it to be a little bit of a point in the top. I'm going to take a little bit of clay and form kind of like a triangle. Like this. You see that? And I'm going to wet this So let me set that down. I'm going to try to blend that in. And I'm going to take a ball tool and blend that into his face. Just carefully blending. I don't want to mess with the eye. It just kind of elongates his face a little bit. Adds a little depth to it. Still going for the short nose because I am a firm believer that if you have a short nose on a dragon, it's going to be more friendly than mean. Now I'm going to add an ear. I'm going to roll ball of clay into the noodle like that. Like that. It's all wet. I'll press that into place and use the ball tool. I'll blend it in, and you can also kind of carve in the shape of the inside of the ear a little bit. I like that. You take the back end of a small paintbrush and put in an air hole. So that's kind of where we're at here. Just want to put it on there and see how that looks. It looks pretty good. So I just want to take my paintbrush, get all the clay off of it, and I don't want it really wet now, okay? Just want it a little bit damp, and I'll go through and smooth all this out. Watching out for that eye. Stay away from the eye, because it gets muddy real quick, and man, you don't want all your work to go to waste. So that's kind of cool, huh? That's kind of cool. Then I'll put the nose hole in after I get them on there. So let's get them on there. I want to be very gentle with it. Score it here where it's going to join the other part. Score here. Or here, so we're all over the place here. Water. He's a little bit formidable. He's not scowling, but he's definitely got some, a little bit formidable, I guess. Let's try and blend them in here and I'll take the back end of the paintbrush and get all the clay off of it. Put in a little nose hole. And then I'll take this tool and put in the mark for his mouth. And take my brush and just smooth that. Well, that wasn't too bad. And again, as I always try to remind you guys, it's be patient, practice, and take your time, and don't be upset with your hands if they don't work for you like they work for me. I make a lot of sculptures all the time, like all the time, and for many years, and of course, it'll be easier for me than it will be for you, but if you persevere and you practice, you'll be able to do this for sure. I know it because I have people that send me pictures and stuff, and I know people are doing it. So, yeah. Okay, I'm just kind of brushing here and smoothing and blending and that sort of thing. We'll take a break for a minute. Okay, I want to make a unicorn type horns for him. So I've got a little clay here. Ideally, you're going to have this fairly wet for it to work properly for you. And so you notice the ends are kind of sharp. So I'm going to fold this or bend it carefully. Like this, and then I'm going to twist it like that. And I'm going to get everything wet because I'm not going to be able to score this. I'll make sure it stays. Adjust the camera here. Just gonna press that into place and kind of blend it in at the top of his head. That's kind of cool. Okay. Next, we're going to make the spades for his tail. So I'm going to start with a shape kind of like this. Let's smooth it out a little bit. Need a little bit of water. Sort of shaping it. Flatten it a little bit. And shaping it. And I'm going to I'm just going to put my thumb right there and just pull away that so it'll fit on the end of his tail. Pinching. I want it to be kind of sharp on the top here, this ridge here, like hammer ridge. So kind of like that. So something like that. So I want to score it and everything, and we'll do that in just a second. I want to kind of smooth this out here. Whew. So I'm going to score where it's going to go here, and score the other side. Like all that. Press it on, and then I'm going to have it kind of coming around. I'm going to smooth this. And then maybe have it come like that. And then just smooth it out. That's pretty cool. I'll take my paintbrush, get all the clay off of it, and just kind of use it to sculpt it in there a little bit, blend it. That's pretty good. I think it's pretty fun. Okay. So next we're going to start the scales. So the first one I'm going to make is going to be kind of long. Make it like this, because I want it to come up and go onto the spade like that. So I don't always score scales, but I'm going to score this out. This one. And score here a little bit. And what that. Have it curve around and go up on the spade. Like that, and then blend it in to the tail. Another one. And I'll probably cut that off there. And wet everything. Go ahead and score it. And I'm going to put it on. And I'm going to have it kind of go like that. And then blend it in. Like that. And I'm going to keep going, and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, I'm working on the scales. You can see they're all kind of curving inwards, which is something I like to do because I think it looks really good. And yeah, I'm just add another scale and show you. Try to clean off my tool before I score so it's more effective. And then wet everything. Lay it on. Curve it in. Try to snip it off there a little bit. Blend it in. Just keep on going. Almost there. Okay, let me show you where we're at. Scales going up. I kind of got rid of his scowl. That was too much. And that's how I did the scales on his, up near his head. So yeah. So now, what I would recommend doing is spending some time smoothing and filling in gaps, places like back here, you know, down in there. I'll probably kind of bring that horn out a little bit there. I'm going to put an earring in his ear. If you look at my tail page, you know, at Jake Folger, there's a dragon, partially sculpted dragon picture in the top there. And I think it has an earring. I'm pretty sure it does. I used to do, you know, adorn my dragons with bracelets and earrings and various things. This dragon, of course, is not going to have legs, but that's right. And yeah, well, I'm going to add some texture to the castle turret. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a stone like finish on the castle, and I'm going to do the dragon probably in purple with bronze scales, and I'm going to do the window in bronze, and I'm going to do the blocks in bronze at the top. So yeah, I think it's going to be really cool. It'll be a really beautiful finish, I think. So I'm pretty excited about that. So so what I would do is just take some time and smooth it, and I'll show you what I would do as far as texture goes. I definitely want kind of a stone-like, stony texture on the castle sconce, or, you know, the castle part. You know, just doing something like this would be nice when, when you see how I do that finish. It'll be pretty nice. So kind of rough it up a little bit. And you can do your dragon like that too. If you don't want it smooth, you can, a couple things you can do. You take a ball tool and you can stipple him. I'm not going to do it because well, maybe I'll do it. Yeah, I'll show you. I mean, you can just press the ball tool into his skin like that. And yeah, maybe I'll do that on him. Yeah, it's kind of nice. I think with the finish, it might look really good. So yeah, it's something you can do. It will save you some smoothing time, but you still should smooth. And smoothing also has there's some good qualities about it. It does, you know, adding water and brushing and that sort of thing will strengthen the sculpture. So smoothing is a good thing sometimes, for sure. So that's some things you can do. And then also, if there's any gaps, you know, fill them in. Take a little bit of clay. And you take a little bit of clay and drop it into the little holes. And then take a tool and push it in. And that will strengthen the piece, you know, make it less likely to come apart. So that's definitely a good idea for sure to do that. And kind of blend it in there, and And then you can take a small paintbrush and just go in and smooth it out. It also makes it easier when we paint it, you know, because we are going to paint it. There'll be some paint anyways, and you won't have to worry about all these little holes and nooks and crannies that you didn't get. So, yeah, that's something you can do. And so, let's do that for a while, and then come back. Okay, so I just want to cover a little bit about smoothing. You know, when I sculpt my pieces, I try to not to make them really lumpy and bumpy. You know, I try to pay attention to as I'm sculpting them. So I don't know at what point, you know, where you're at with your sculpture. If it's really rough, you might want to have a couple brushes, one that's more coarse, and that can take a lot more clay off as you're doing it, as you're smoothing. And so it's a good idea to have some kind of cloth or paper towel or something. So you dip your brush into the water, get it wet, dab it off so it's not soaking wet, and then smooth. And you know, dragging your brush into it like that is a lot more. It's a lot better than you know, stabbing at it, because stabbing at it will make marks. And I do, you know, I mean, I think, you know, I added texture. I did texture on the dragon and also on the castle. But, you know, smoothing is important for helping the piece stay together for the long term. You know, because water, for air dry clay, at least with what I'm using here is Marblex. It's like glue, so so it's a good thing to spend some time with that. And then when you get to a point where it's looking pretty good and it's, you know, you've got a lot of the roughness out of it and the bumps and lumps and all that, you can switch to a smaller brush and a softer brush and use that, you know, to bring it to where you want it to be for the, you know, to finish it and complete it. So, you know, that's what I would do. You can put your, I have my water in a can here. You can get the brush clean of clay by stabbing it into the bottom of the cup or whatever you've got for your water source, and that will take the clay off as it builds up on your brush. You also, of course, can wipe the clay off, and so, you know, wipe the clay off of it or stab it, dip it into the water, get it a little, you know, wet, and then dab it off so it's not soaking wet, because it's actually to have much more of an effect with the clay, smoothing the clay if it's not soaking wet. A couple things I added. I changed the horn. I did the horn over again. I just thought it would look better. I still need to do a little smoothing on that. I haven't decided about the earring. I may use some copper wire and put earring in. I haven't decided yet. But I'm getting close to completion on it now and just touching things up. And in a little while, after it stiffens up, I'm going to release it from the board. And before I do that, I want to take a sharp, clean tool. I'm cleaning this tool off a little bit right now. And I want to go around and the sculpture and cut a clean edge around it so that it's, you know, clean all the way around and doesn't have like clay sloping down off the piece. You know, you want to cut it and clean that whole edge going around the entire sculpture all the way around. And actually, I didn't have much of a problem with that. I got a little bit over here. So I can kind of show you. So, you know, just cut it away, and then you can take your tool and just scrape along the board that it's on to just clean it up. So you should go around the entire sculpture before you release it from the board and get all that cleaned up before you release it. Also, you want the clay to be fairly stiff when you release it. You don't want it to be dry, but definitely stiff. And the reason why you don't want it to be dry is because we are going to put a hole in the back so it can hang on the wall. And I'm going to show you how to do that and how that works. It's a great idea, and I've been doing it for years, and it hangs flush to the wall. It's not sticking out, you know, it's flush to the wall. It's really a nice way of hanging it, and I'll show you all about that in a little bit. So yeah, we'll come back in a little while, and the clay, my clay is pretty moist at this point. I don't want to remove it from the board yet, so it's going to be a little while longer. Okay, I'm going to release the dragon from the board now. I've got a wire tool. You've probably seen these if you've been in the art stores looking at tools. There are two little handles which I rarely use because I'm not cutting really huge pieces of clay. But yeah, you can just hold it like this at the top and hold it to the board with your thumbs. And slowly pull the wire down, holding it flush to the board. Kind of hard to do on camera, but I think you can see how I do that. And then it's free. And this is important. All these deep crevices in here really should be blended and filled in. You can use bits of clay to fill them in, and you know, blend them, and any parts that aren't, you know, connected in the back, like right here, I had that problem right there, so I just kind of blended that in there. Over here I have the same type of thing. Like that. And then fill in all these gaps. We'll do that first and then come back. Okay, so hopefully your clay is still soft in the back. You know, again, you don't want it to dry out too much. I mean, you could probably drill this clay, but I have tried to drill before. And I'll tell you, if you're using the Marblex, this stuff is really hard when it dries. Really hard. And it's hard even to drill into. So I don't recommend waiting like that. And I'm just going to demonstrate, and then, you know, I'll have to do this off camera because I can't. I don't have enough room here, unfortunately. But you want to find the center point of the sculpture. So you can measure it, but you want to find the center point. I'm assuming it's probably like right there. And then I take a tool and make a hole. If I'm holding it like this, you see I'm going in at an upward angle. And I go in maybe an inch or so. An inch is usually enough. And now, when you go to hang it on your wall, you put the nail in at an upward angle, going down into the wall like this, and the sculpture hangs simply on that nail. Now don't try to hang it when it's soft, because guess what? It'll just cut through and probably pull the nail out and the piece will fall on the floor. You want to make sure it's hard before you hang it, obviously, but I want to tell you, just in case you were thinking, oh, I should hang it and see how it looks. I wouldn't do it. Yeah, so that's how you do it. It's very simple. And then it just hangs flush to the wall, and it's really quite nice. Very simple hack that works really good. Okay, so I'm going to, from experience, I've learned that you can, with at least Marblex, I mean, some clays may not work the same, but with Marblex you can put it in the oven for like a half hour and dry the surface of the clay to do a finish on it, and that's what I'm going to do. I don't recommend putting your piece in the oven for hours on end. Don't do that. I wouldn't do that. But to just dry the surface of the clay so you can put a finish on it is fine. Again, I would not hang it until it's totally dry. Give it a couple of days or a day or so to dry completely before you hang it. So don't hang it, alright? Okay, we're back, and the Dragon Castle wall art piece is dry to the touch and ready to be painted. So the base coat for this finish we're going to do is going to be black, and I have it here. I'm using Utrecht Studio Series acrylic in deep black, but you can use, you know, pretty much any kind of black paint. I do recommend that it be flat or a matte finish. This paint that I'm using is a matte finish. And so when you're painting, you want to work it into all the detail and look at it from every direction so that you fill every little bit and cover the whole entire sculpture with the black, and do 2 coats. And then so I'll just start looking up underneath, you know, all around. I do get my brush a little damp before I start. It kind of helps it go on. And yeah, so go around and paint in black, and then we'll come back. Okay, we're back with our black Dragon Castle wall art piece, and we're going to do the first part of this finish. It's going to be a stone-like finish on the parts of the castle. And to do that, what I do is I have some black and white paint here. Unless you have a nice steel gray, you can take a little bit of black over here and a bit of white, mix it in, and you'll come up with a nice gray. Like that would be good. Maybe a little darker. Pick up a little more black. Yeah, that would be good. A little bit more white. So, then what I do is I clean my brush off. And you can use a paper towel. I use my pants because, you know, I'm an artist and I've got stuff all over me all the time anyway, so why not? Then I am going to get a little bit of the paint on my brush and I'm going to dab it off on a paper towel like that. And then I'm just gently going to do what they call dry brushing. And I'm just going to, I want to make sure I don't have a lot of paint on my brush. I'm just going to go over it lightly and kind of get it gray. And I'm going up between the stones at the top and here. Just lightly going over it, kind of dusting it with the brush. And under here and here. Over here, a little bit more paint. Dab it off. And lightly dry brush it under here. It just gives it kind of a stony texture, stony look. Well, that's what it looks like. So, yeah. And I'll probably do it on the back too. Oh, I'm trying to see that. There we go. So, got that. Now what I do is I'll take a smaller brush and any place that I got the gray on that I didn't want it to be on, like the dragon itself or the stones, I'll just touch it up because I want that to be black when I do the other types of finishes on it. So I just touch that up, wherever that is. Next, well, let me get ready for it. Just a minute. I'll be right back. So for the next part of this finish, I'm going to be using Johnson's Paste Wax and Pearl X pigments in Reflex Violet for the dragon, and also Antique Bronze I have in this lid here. All the ingredients, all the tools and everything I'm using for this project will be in a tool and supply list down below the video in the video description. I'm going to get a little brush here, get some wax on my brush. I'm going to dab it off a little bit. I'm going to pick up, I've got the purple in the lid here. I'm going to pick up some purple, dab that off, or it's actually Reflex Violet. And I'm going to paint it on the dragon. I really love this finish, and I have been doing my dragons in this finish for years and years. I really like the finish a lot. So every time I get a little wax, I dab it, and then I pick up some reflex violet and dab it, and then put it on. They have all kinds of colors. It's Pearl pigments. You just pick out what you like. I'll put a link for a place you can get it in the video description. They have this one place, Plaza Art Supplies, has many colors. And you could, of course, do the dragon and, I mean, you could leave them black, you can do the stone finish on them, whatever you like, really. I just like, I really like this color, and I love doing my dragons in purple, so that's a personal preference. Now I'm going to clean my brush and get a little bit of wax and some bronze, and I'm going to put on the box on the window. And I do try to kind of looking to do, kind of an antique finish. I'm not trying to cover all the black. I like to leave some showing. You see it's really pretty. And I'm also going to do the blocks. Really pretty. It's already a pretty piece, as you can see. Quite gorgeous. And I'm going to pick up some wax on my finger, like that, and then I swirl that with my thumb, go into the bronze, get that on my finger, and then I swirl that, so it looks like that. I'm going to do his horn. And his eyelid with his ear, and I highlight his face a little bit, like that. Get a little bit more wax, swirl it, a bit of bronze, swirl it, and do the scales. More wax, more bronze. That's some pretty stuff, isn't it? I really love it. I really love it. Just highlight. Yeah, man. Some good stuff there. Now what I do is I clean my brush pretty good and get a little wax and I go over and paint everything again with the wax. This wax is very durable. I have used it for many years, and it cures very hard. It takes about 10 minutes to cure, and it's a very durable, hard finish. People ask me sometimes if they need to seal the piece. No, you don't. It will last a long time, long time, and it is meant for indoor use. I mean, this is not recommended for outdoor use. That's for sure. And we'll wait a few minutes for that to cure, about 10 minutes, and we'll come back. And the final piece of this finish is to take a soft cloth and gently rub the piece, keeping in mind that this was Johnson paste wax that we put on. And when you buff it, or rub it, it takes on a beautiful sheen. And it also brings out the colors and makes them shimmer. It's quite nice. I don't know if the video does it justice. I will tell you this though, it is quite wonderful. And again, the finish is very durable. The wax, the Johnson paste wax, I've been using it for, 25 years as a sculptor. It's the only wax I would use. Here we are. And let us not forget that our wall art is also a tea light holder. Oh, it's probably hard to see, but it is burning there. We're going to do some close-up shots here. Well, I hope you enjoyed that project as much as I did. That was really a wonderful little sculpt. So I hope you got lots out of that, and that you will do your own dragon castle wall art piece. And maybe if you do, send me a photo. My email address is on my channel page at Jake Folger, in the About section. And if you could, please give the video a like, share it with your friends and family, and leave me a comment or a question if you like. I will respond. Tell me what you think of the video, and if you have ideas for videos you'd like to see me make, I'd love to know. I do easily get inspired when people suggest things like that to me. And so, yeah, definitely do that. And if you like this kind of content, please subscribe to my channel and hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when I upload. And thank you so much for watching. Have a great night. Bye-bye.